So we know the San Francisco 49ers have some questions and concerns at that quarterback position because of Brock Purdy's elbow injury, the lack of development and playing time for Trey Lance, and the fact that he's injured as well. Could San Francisco look to Phillip Rivers? According to Rich Eisen, he broke down the top 5 rumors that he heard at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, and it included Phillip Rivers reaching out to the Niners about playing again. Before we dive into these wild 49ers rumors, make sure you subscribe to the channel. NFL free agency does begin next week. The legal tampering period begins on Monday. That's when we're going to start hearing about some of these contracts, and when we do, you can expect us to cook up some shows here and keep you informed on all things on the Niners front. And also, while we're at it, thanks for getting us past 79,000 subscribers as the largest independently run 49ers channel right here on YouTube. So this coming from Rich Eisen this afternoon on his radio show. He heard at the NFL Scouting Combine that Phillip Rivers contacted the San Francisco 49ers and the Miami Dolphins at the end of last year about playing again because he was somewhat surprised that with the Super Bowl-ready roster, the 49ers were going to move forward with Mr. Irrelevant in Brock Purdy. He called up San Francisco and said, "I'm down to play again. Do you have any interest?" But could he also have some interest this offseason considering the question marks at that quarterback spot? A couple of things here. This is wild to even think about the possibility of Phillip Rivers playing at this point in his life with 9 kids at 41 years old, being that he hasn't played since 2020, and teaming up with the San Francisco 49ers. The other question here with Phillip Rivers, can he still play? His arm, if you go back and watch the tape with the Indianapolis Colts in 2020, it was pretty weak. Now, surprisingly, he played pretty good football. The arm, maybe not as shot as a guy like Matt Ryan, who also played for the Colts last year. But the arm strength certainly diminished as he got a little bit older and moved on from the Chargers. And if the Niners are in the quarterback market, and John Lynch has said, we are going to scour the veteran quarterback market, could Phillip Rivers be that guy? I highly doubt it. I would be astonished and flabbergasted if Phillip Rivers actually decided to play again, but more so if the 49ers actually wanted him to play. But you look at what he did in 2020. He wasn't terrible by any means. 11-5 record. Colts made it to the playoffs, 68% completion percentage. He threw for more than 4,100 yards, 24 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, average yards per attempt at 7.7. And look, let's not knock him. This might be a funny report. It might be an interesting and fascinating conversation, but him as the player, he wasn't funny. He was a dog, man. Phillip Rivers is one of the more cutthroat competitors that we've seen in this league, a legendary shit talker as well. We're talking about a potential future Hall of Famer who had to compete in an era with 2 of the best quarterbacks of all time in Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and because of that, Phillip Rivers was never able to win the big game. But look, at the end of the day, he's 41 years old. On a vet minimum deal, maybe if you're that desperate. And what's funny, I'd honestly rather go with Phillip Rivers at this point than a guy like Matt Ryan, but probably not. And of course, you have to throw the crying, laughing emojis down there as well. Let's have some fun with this poll question here. Weaker arm at the end of their career. Was it Phillip Rivers or is it Matt Ryan right now? PR for Phillip, MR for Matt Ryan. Let me know down in the comment section. Could the 49ers sign Frank Clark? He's going to be released by the Kansas City Chiefs. Really good pass rusher. 3rd all-time in the history of the NFL in sacks in the postseason. Stay tuned for that. First, though, you know what's coming up around the corner? NFL free agency, but also St. Patrick's Day. Girlfriend Kira is really excited for St. Patrick's Day. It's one of her favorite holidays of the year. Shh, don't tell her, but I'm going to have to get her one of these San Francisco 49ers St. Patrick shirts. They're available right now thanks to our friends at Fanatics, chatsports.com/49 St. Patrick's. We're going to put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. A lot of you out there, you like to partake in those festivities. You like to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And for our Irish men and women out there, this is some great gear for you. Get hooked up. It's chatsports.com/49 St. Patrick's. All right. Could the 49ers sign Frank Clark? Let's round out with this. I've been saying all offseason, I'm going to continue to say it because I want John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, as well as Adam Peters, to hear me loud and clear. Nick Bosa needs some help at the other defensive end spot. The 49ers need more sack production outside of Nick Bosa. He wore down the last month of the season. That's no secret. And Frank Clark expected to be released, by Kansas City as the two sides couldn't agree on a new deal. That's what Adam Schefter reported this afternoon on this fine Monday. Chiefs and Frank Clark's agent were unable to find common ground on a reworked deal during several conversations at the Combine, and the expectation now is that Kansas City will release the 29-year-old defensive end, who is the NFL's third all-time leading postseason sack leader per sources. And a lot of you are familiar with him because prior to playing for Kansas City, he played for the Seattle Seahawks. His time in Kansas City, really good player who really turned up in the playoffs. That's when he was at his best. You might look at the sack production here and be a little bit underwhelmed. He also ran into a couple of legal situations over the last couple of years. But look, here's the point. Nick Bosa needs some help at that other edge spot. Frank Clark can give it to you. And I'm fascinated to see what his market is going to be at 29 years old because his production with sacks in the regular season, not great. But in the playoffs, he's phenomenal. He just turns it up another notch, and that step off the line of scrimmage when that ball gets snapped seems to be a little bit quicker. 2019, 8 sacks for the Chiefs. 2020, 6. 2021, 4.5. 2022, he had 5, and he's a player who's consistently available for his football team. I'm not sure if it's going to be Frank Clark. I don't know if it's going to be Leonard Floyd, Bud Dupree. But the 49ers need to give Nick Bosa another good edge rusher on this team. Shoot, I mean, some buzz out of the NFL Combine is that Samson Ebukam is going to make double-digit millions per year. 49ers cannot afford that. And for all the nerds out there who are saying, the 49ers don't have enough cap space, you guys keep talking about signing all these players. It's called contract restructures, folks. It's called contract restructures. These contracts can get restructured, and that changes things in an instant, in the blink of an eye. If the 49ers were to restructure the contracts for Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, Christian McCaffrey, Fred Warner, and George Kittle, they could free up more than $50 million in NFL free agency. So don't tell me that it's not possible, because anything is possible in the wild world of sports, and that's why I love what I do. All right, should the Niners sign him? Frank Uzi Clark, G for go for it, P for pause. Let us know down in the comments section. We want to hear from the faithful, and as always, please subscribe to the channel.